Donald Trump blows the cartel out of the water, quite literally. We have wild news surfacing regarding Jeffrey Epstein, and it looks like there's evidence to the contrary of what the DOJ said. And we have crime still going through the roof in Democrat-ran areas. And, well, it's all Donald Trump's fault. That's what we're going to be talking about today on the Bald Brad Show, folks. We are one of the top 10 morning shows on Rumble. We'd love to have you hit that like button. Leave us a comment when you can. And, well, let's do this, baby. So, the big news, and I said this during Dark MAGA when the story broke, I've been praying for this. The U.S. military destroyed a boat allegedly carrying drugs from Venezuela on Tuesday. Now, we have hundreds of thousands of Americans dying because of drugs that are pouring into the United States, meaning virtually we're at war right now. The most dramatic move yet in the Trump administration's war on cartels, as a federal judge in California ruled against the president's use of the National Guard for domestic law enforcement. Well, if you recall, the Houthis were blowing our merchant vessels and our allies' merchant vessels out of the water. And we showed footage multiple times that the merchant vessels were going to the bottom of the ocean. And you know what Joey did? Absolutely nothing. Joey just said, stop doing that. And we actually know the exact count of how many times he said, stop doing that before he actually did something. It was 127 times, to be exact, before he did anything. And it wasn't even blowing these Houthis out of the water. He went and bombed some random ammo depot in the middle of BFE and hadn't been used in like decades. It was just a bunch of cement. So basically, he did demolition for somebody. Donald Trump does it a little bit different. So matter of fact, we have the clip for you here of Donald Trump tracking these guys in a boat, which looks like it has minimum two outboard motors. I think it has 4 outboard motors. And if anybody knows about ocean, if anybody knows about the ocean, that is a fast boat, man. So here's what that looked like. So this is, for those on audio, legitimately years have been asking for this. Remember how I'd say, hey, I don't want one rung off the bow. I want one dropping right in the more. Those guys are missed, evaporating, and then they get a little barbecue at the end. Absolutely love it. Perfect. Pat, thank you so much for becoming a new monthly supporter over at the Bald Brad Show. People are saying Rumble's having issues. It keeps pausing. I can't control that. I apologize. If you, some people are asking, well, how do I become a member? I might as well just address this now, because a lot of you want to get in that Rumble premium content that we do every Tuesday, Thursday. If you go down here and you hit subscribe, you will be able to become a member to my channel. So, you know, whoever needs that right there is what I've been referring to. Like C-Dog was asking yesterday. So C-Dog, if you click on this, you should become a member, and that $4.99 one goes to me, but also it'll allow you to join Rumble Premium. So appreciate that. Dave, if you want, I am live on Kick as well. And then we are also live on YouTube. So you can kind of pop over there if you would like. We're on all platforms. I'm also streaming on X. So if Rumble's giving you issues, head over there as well. So you could partake in YouTube, Rumble, Kick. Hell, I'm everywhere. So as part of an enhanced counter-narcotics operation, U.S. military has deployed at least 8 warships to the Caribbean. We just, over the last few minutes, shot out a drug-carrying boat, Trump announced on Tuesday. These came out of Venezuela. You know, it's like China, Venezuela. The action follows the president's designation of several large drug cartels as terror organizations, allowing for a more aggressive military approach. Love it. And you know what the Democrats will do? They'll start protesting. How could you? These people are just making a living. You're not in their shoes. You don't know what they go through. Right? Remember when Kamala Harris went to the southern border and then she attributed all this mass migration to weather change? global warming, climate change, or whatever the hell they call it nowadays. They keep switching it. Yeah. So they'll come up with some excuse. Oh, these people just need it, as your brothers and sisters in America are dying left and right. Yeah. Yeah. They'll make some excuse for it. Genius. All right. Well, Europe sees historic shift to the right amid migrant backlash. I am telling you, watching what is going on in Europe is, I don't know if we've seen something like this in our lifetime, where Europe is obviously known, and I understand there's Germany, United Kingdom, all that stuff, but I mean, they're known for a culture there. I mean, they're some of the oldest cultures on the planet. And so it's fascinating to see what they've done and how we've basically been doing the same thing, but we were able to catch it early, whereas they might be too late here. And what I mean by that is, United Kingdom, Germany, all these countries, France, we've been telling them, hey, all this mass migration, these people from third world countries that you're allowing in, it's really going to do you in at some point. And they didn't want to listen. They were just laughing at us. And then we allowed it to happen. And thank God, by the graces of the heavens, and I mean this in all seriousness, we got Donald Trump in office that said enough is enough. We're securing the border. And I also think that put a little pep in some people's walk over there in Europe, saying, hey, if Trump is pushing on this, maybe we should push at it too. This is BS. And so people have had enough over there. But I think it might be a little bit too late, because the only way that you're going to get your country back is mass deportations. And I hate to say it, but it could even lead to you having an uprising and taking your country back. So for the first time in modern history, well, here we go. That's what I just said. Right-wing populist parties are leading the polls in Europe's three largest economies, France, Germany, and United Kingdom, driven by a massive public backlash against mass migration. This is what happens when you don't speak up. This is what happens when you just sit behind a keyboard and don't do anything. Now, you might say, well, Brad, you're behind a keyboard. Well, yeah, obviously behind a keyboard, but I have a camera and a microphone. Like, I'm actually risking a lot doing this show to open my mouth and, call out all this BS stuff that is obviously silly, right? It's obviously ridiculous. And I don't think anything I say here or ever had said on the show is anything too extreme. Gee, if you allow mass migration to happen, guess what happens? When you have that happen, you have a bunch of people that don't want to assimilate in your country. They're just there for your economy. Well, there goes your culture. There goes your culture, there goes your politics. There goes everything that involves what made your country great. So the people that left their country because it sucked want to come and make your country sucky too. Gee, tough. It's so terrible that I said it. It's objective. It's true. Gee, are we seeing that here in the United States? Absolutely. Pouring in 192 different nations in our country. Well, we're a melting pot, Brad. That's what makes America great. We're just a melting pot of different cultures. We might have different cultures here, but why don't you take your head out of your you-know-what and realize the fact that we do have a shared common value here in the United States. That would be our Declaration of Independence, as well as the United States Constitution and other founding documents, not just the fact of Judeo-Christian values as well. But for some reason, and again, I don't know why, I really don't. Either they're blocking it out, meaning the Democrat Party, or they don't want to acknowledge it because they want to have kumbaya and equality for all these other faiths and religions out there. Well, it just wasn't Judeo-Christian values. It was this thing that happened at one point in history where you had some Muslims rise up and fight in World War II or something like that, right? They always have to do that. There's some group out there of 5 people that did something at some point in history, and then they're going to talk about it, how that's revolutionized our nation. Now, is it a big deal? Of course it is, but not to the capacity of Judeo-Christian values. Get out of here. So look at this. Look at these numbers. Immigration is the number one factor driving all these movements. The editor-in-chief of the European Conservative told the Morning Wire, which is over at the Daily Wire, since 2015, an estimated 25 to 30 million immigrants, primarily from Muslim countries, have entered Europe. Now, I showed this the other day, and I'm going to show it again. There is a common theme here. By the way, look at this thing. We'll get there. This is where we're going to. Whoa, boy. That's the police chief. We'll get there. Hold on. I got a lot of stuff here. Where is it? I posted it. There it is. Look at this. Sexual offenses in London by nationality. I'm just going to read you some of the top 10 here, but this is per 10,000. So if you think this is per 100,000, no, per 10,000. So Afghanistan, then you go to, I haven't even heard this place, Eritrea, no idea, Algeria, Somalia, Sudan, Albania, Iraq, Iran, Egypt, Morocco, Kenya, Romania, Bangladesh, Bulgaria. Gee. I mean, if you get like Jamaica, Ukraine, it's unbelievable, right? There's a common theme. If you go down this whole list, you will see a glaring thing. Gee, do you want to guess what it is? It might be somebody's religion. But see, then you're a bigot, you're a sexist, you're a homophobe. Yeah, see, Michelle has it. Yeah. It's crazy. But the second that you bring that up, right, then you're a racist, right? You don't like these people. It's like, no, I'm just calling out what the data says. Just because the data says something doesn't mean I like it. Nor am I against the faith. It's just what the data says. Right? They do the same thing, right? If the data says there's all, which is true, right? We talk about in Trojan Horse how the left is destroying America, my book. Pick yourself up a copy today. Appreciate it. What we said was, if you look at like black men create like half the crime in the country. And then when you bring up that statistic, just because it's just something that happens, like you're just looking at what's objectively taking place, you're deemed a racist. It's like because I'm looking at something and I'm just calling it out for what it is. That's weird. Well, primarily from Muslim countries have entered Europe, leading to a culture clash and widespread anger over the high cost of housing and welfare for migrants. Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Look, if you want to bring people over to this country, I don't think you should, meaning our United States, but don't give them handouts then. People always talk about, well, back in like 1912, a bunch of people came here, Brad, and that's what made America great. It says it on the footsteps of the Statue of Liberty that the French gave us, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, they also weren't given widespread welfare at that time either. You came over here, you got nothing. You want to know what you got? You got the best country in the world. They give you the best opportunity to make the best life for yourself. There you go. That's what you got. But, now we just give handouts, right? We kick out our veterans out of hotel rooms. We pay for migrants' living expenses, their rent. We give them free cash, healthcare, education, travel services, the whole bit. I mean, they get everything for free while you're just scraping at the bottom of the barrel to pay your own damn bills. And then everybody's wondering, why is everything so expensive for me? Why can't I get ahead? Well, one of the many variables in that equation is the fact that you are paying for two other families to live here. That would be why, and nobody wants to address it. Some conservatives will, but it turns out, yeah, not only are you feeding yourself and your own family and then paying all your own cost of living, but you're also doing it for two other families that came here illegally, and they keep wanting more and more and more and more and more and never really contributing. Now, see, when I do that, when I say that, they go, no. Well, illegal immigrants pay taxes. Of course they do. Of course they do. But then why does it cost us to the tune of $150 billion minimum a year to cater and support all this? I said in 4 years, we would spend $1 trillion under the Biden administration. And I still hold to that, by the way. I still hold that we spend $1 trillion on illegal immigration. And not to mention, you see what all this craziness is going on in our country. Hopefully Donald Trump can get it under control. And hopefully these guys over there in Europe can get it under control. But I think this is the next big thing that we're going to see in Europe right now is a huge movement to take their nations back because, boy, they're losing it. And I think UK has already fallen. I think London has fallen. That was I know I did a video on it the other day. I really do. Which is sad because, some of my family come from there. I have half my family living in London. Never met them, but they're there. They're there somewhere. Alrighty, this was big news yesterday as well. I was listening to actually some debates on this last night. We did cover it yesterday, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But the FDA has removed the emergency use authorization for COVID vaccines, restricting their availability for healthy Americans, as President Trump is now publicly questioning his own Operation Warp Speed and demanding that pharmaceutical companies release their data on the shots. So I'm sure this is sparked by RFK Jr., who's doing a lot of work in this field of trying not just to make America healthy again. And I think it's important to raise questions like this. For some reason, just because, and I don't know why, and there's really intelligent people that push this as well. When you start asking questions, all of a sudden they say that you're against vaccines. If you question like, hey, are vaccines really working? And they go, well, come on. I mean, polio, right? Or smallpox, or these vaccines, they've worked for hundreds of years. How could you question it? It's like, yeah, but not all vaccines work, right? I mean, it's okay to question it. And I think questions lead to hopefully answers and more data. And the more data will lead to even more questions and more answers. And that's how you progress in your knowledge and your understanding to see if something is truly as effective as we're saying it is. And that's why we do auditing and accounting all the time. Just because you tell me something is legit doesn't mean I'm going to believe you. Why don't you show me the proof? And you want to know what that proof is? Hey, buddy, I did a bunch of sampling, pull that account, pull that receipt, bada bee, bada boo, bada bee, and let me see if it's actually legit. I have no qualms with RFK Jr. saying, hey, I got a question for all of you. Show me the proof that this stuff is actually legit. But the moment he does that, he's a terrible guy. Yeah, no, he's bad. So I'm always for asking questions, getting more data. So this move comes as President Trump has taken a critical tone on the vaccines in a Truth Social post. He demanded that companies like Pfizer justify the success of the drugs and release their data to the public. In a notable shift, he also questioned his own signature program, writing, I hope Operation Warp Speed was as brilliant as many say it was. If not, we all want to know about it and why. I mean, we were sold the lie, but we're not allowed to talk about it. But remember, we're authoritarian. Yeah, we're the bad guys, you know, just real bad guys. All righty. Some of you are like, well, Brad, what's going on with that Epstein stuff? Oh, I got it for you here. But before we do that, folks, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, or hit that like button and follow us over at Rumble, YouTube, everywhere. Would love to have you. Appreciate all. You know, we always have the regulars here. This is awesome. This is really, really awesome. All righty. So here's the Jeffrey Epstein news. Oh, boy. Let me see if I can get a stupid thing. Here we go. All right. So missing minute in Jeffrey Epstein jail security video revealed in document dump. This seemed like it happened quietly, and it did. It happened late last night. I mean, at least this article did. So here we go. A newly released congressional video fills a 1-minute gap in earlier surveillance from notorious financier Jeffrey Epstein's jail unit on the night of 2019 suicide. Now, I was told, folks, I haven't read this article. This is news to me as well, so I'm going to see if they mention it. I was told that video, the one minute was scrapped. It was gone. And, you know, I believe it was Pam Bondi who said it. She goes, oh, no, it's just because he was asked about it. Like, hey, there's a missing minute. She goes, oh, well, you know, these old jail videos, like that's what they do. They just get rid of the 1 minute video and then they kind of loop it over. They all do it. And folks, I even said, I was like, that's kind of weird. I was like, I've never heard of that before. Really? By the way, even Danielle, we brought up Danielle. Danielle's like our law enforcement correspondent, Q's our legal correspondent. And I'm like, hey, does that even sound legit? I don't remember Danielle's answer. It just sounded weird, but I just kind of took it for what it worth because hell, I don't know. Well, 2 key clips, part of the nearly 34,000 file e-drop by the House Oversight Committee Tuesday night, revealed the highly contested minute missing from surveillance footage filmed outside Epstein's cell block. I mean, come on, it wasn't really outside his cell block, right? I mean, there was a whole documentary thing on this not too long ago on YouTube. Dude, it was even worse. That video footage was even worse than I thought it was. It's bad. It don't show anything. And by the way, somebody can get up that staircase. So basically the footage that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino released don't mean nothing to me. It was a nothing burger. So the disputed minute lasted, well, a minute. And digital forensic experts previously found the clip released by the Department of Justice was chopped from at least 2 separate video segments and strung together using Adobe Premiere Pro, fueling conspiracy theories that the administration was covering up Epstein's death. The new drop from the House committee shows the camera data switched at about midnight, leading to a necessary binding of 2 clips for a consecutive video. For Fox News Digital, combined with 2 clips after the latest release on Tuesday, showing that there was indeed no lapse in footage, contradicting Attorney General Pam Bondi's previous explanation that the last minute of footage is deleted every night. Is that what we said? Uh-oh. Oh, boy, dude. Another hole that she dug for herself. Bro. What? Look. I hate to say it, man. Let's go to the chat, actually. And be honest, it's okay if you don't want this to happen. I don't know where I'm at on this yet. It's been, we're in September now, folks. We're in September. It's been like 8 months. What has Pam Bondi done? Should Pam Bondi be fired? And put a 1 in the chat if Pam Bondi should be fired. A 2 if we should keep her around. It's been 8 months. I'm not exactly sure what she's done. I have not seen anybody go to jail. I've not seen a spectacle or anything of the sort happen. It's been 8 months, man. I've seen Cash Patel and Dan Bongino doing drug busts and, going after predators and all that. I've seen them do stuff. That's been nice. But Pam Bondi, and maybe I'm just missing it. Like, what? Who has she gone after that's like all these anybody big name? I haven't seen anything. I mean, is there some sort of brewing up that I'm not aware of? Kenneth wants her gone. A lot of ones. Karen wants her around. That's fair. I appreciate the honesty. Man. It's unclear why the footage disappeared. Though the 1 minute that was missing from the original drop did not reveal any action inside the jail cell. So I don't know. A little odd to me. A little odd, but hey, I'm not the one running the show. Pam Bondi is. And I haven't seen nothing happen. Nothing happen. All righty. Well, let's get into a little bit of this news. I got to go to my X page for this.
Of crime.
We got Chicago. So here is Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson from 2023. I'm going to end crime in Chicago. And I just want to point out, you kind of see how this was just 2 years ago. And you kind of sees what's happened to the guy. I mean, he still looks good. Don't get me wrong. But if you look at Mayor Lori Lightfoot, we saw what happened to her. That city, man, will just tear you up. It spits you out, and you don't even look the same, by the way. Like, it doesn't just physically age you. It like alters your bone structure. It messes you up. Well, here he is blaming Donald Trump.
We can actually solve crime in the city of Chicago with my plan.
We will never be able to end gun violence in Chicago as long as the president continues to allow tens of thousands of guns to be trafficked into our state and our city.
We can actually solve crime in the city of Chicago with my plan.
Yeah, I love that. What a great mashup. What a great it's always Trump's fault. I'm going to get rid of crime and promise you everything that I'm never going to give you. Folks, I think they haven't had like a Republican mayor in like 100 years or something like that. I can't remember last time they had one. So here he is again. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson calls on citizens to resist and defend the city against the National Guard. Oh boy. It's like almost like a Black Lives Matter speech.
Are you prepared to defend this land that was built by slaves, a land that was built by indigenous people, a land that is built by workers? Are you prepared to defend this land? The people united will always prevail. I need you all.
Folks, can I point out a glaring thing here? Glaring. Just, you don't have to know much about history, okay? Really, you don't have to know much about history. You can actually, matter of fact, I'll just do a holistic view for you. This is the amount of information that you need to know that this guy has no clue what he's talking about. Just geographically, is Chicago in the north or the south? Just pause. Because he said Chicago was built by slaves. You heard the guy. This is the extent of all you need to know. I mean, obviously, you go further in depth. Folks, Chicago was not built by slaves.
To stand firm, to stand strong, if this president decides to continue to break this constitutional oath.
Danielle said it perfectly. Danielle in the chat says trying to be like MLK. You notice they're all like that in the Democrat Party. They want their moment, right? Like Hakeem Jeffries on the House floor or whatever, just screaming, or like Cory Booker with his crazy eyes screaming as well. You notice they're all trying to do like this movement of like, you said it perfectly. It's true. They're all trying to do their own moment here and trying to just, like, we're going to rise up. Hold on, I got to hear this again.
Are you prepared to defend this land that was built by slaves?
I got to go to the comments. Let's see what people are saying about this. Oh, boy. We have everything under control. We don't need help. Yep. Oh, God, that totally brings back, right, that CNN or MSNBC clip where that guy's like, it's mostly peaceful protests as the buildings are ablaze behind him. What about this? The U.S. has the third highest murder rate in the world if you remove Chicago, Detroit, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, blah, blah, blah. The U.S. is then 189th. I don't know if that's true. So for those on audio, this guy posted this image and he says the U.S. is the third largest or highest murder rate. And if you remove Chicago, Detroit, D.C., St. Louis, Philadelphia, which are all Democrat ran, by the way, then we are 189th out of 193 in terms of countries. Now that 193, there's actually more than 193 countries. These are what's recognized by the United Nations, if I have that correct. I don't know if the stat's true, so take that with a grain of salt, by the way. Everybody got that? Don't just like, oh, well, we're going to be this. This could be all bogus, by the way. Oh my God, I wanted to post this like a month ago. Democrats walking through their congressional districts. Bro, tell me that ain't a good picture, you guys. Yes, I saw this and dude, I was so giddy to show all of you and I forgot. Thank you, Lord, for putting it in the thread. Oh, look at that. I mean, talk about an image that sums up everything. Oh boy. Now, obviously, this is not a Democrat-ran area, but not too far off. I mean, this is in another country, right? This looks like somewhere in Africa or something like that. But God, it's so true, right? This is their MLK movement too, except nobody's behind them to actually do anything. Yeah, and by the way, they'll all vote for like. Let's just play it out that this is America. Like, let's say this is like, let's say it's Chicago. That's fun, right? The buildings are nothing's upkept, right? They can't even, there is asphalt under here, but they can't sweep their own streets. And then everyone's like, oh, he's so lovely. Look how great he is. This is Brandon Johnson right here with a nice suit that we talked about before. He spends more time on his suits than he is actually cleaning up his city. And then all these people are just loving it, right? This is how Democrats do this. They kill for this, you guys. They love it. How do I know that? Because I live in a Democrat-ran state. And it's not just Democrat. You have some of the most hardcore progressives. People don't know this. California, it isn't like you get a lot of middle ground here. You get a lot of hardcore leftists, or you get a lot of hardcore Republicans. So that's why I've always said, if you get a Republican that moves to your state, statistically, they are more Republican than you are, by the way. So people go, oh, you're from California. You got to kind of figure out what that means. If they're coming from California and they're Republican, those people you want to welcome with open arms, because odds are they are more Republican and conservative than you are. Now, I know Republican and conservative are different, but, well, here nor there. And their cars burned down. This is the remnants of Black Lives Matter movement. You know what I mean? Just got down, burn. It's so great. As you're still paying off your car, it's burnt. Lovely. So, oh man, that's incredible. So we got more here. Here's Pritzker, this idiot. Reporter says this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead, and we need to focus on Trump. Gotcha.
People, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it. But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago. He's overlooking red states that have much higher crime rates.
You see what he did there? This has been echoed by Joy Behar on The View, Whoopi Goldberg on The View, most notoriously, and other Democrat politicians. Did you just hear what he said? Because you guys, I don't want you to be fooled by this crap. This is also pulled by Gavin Newsom over there. Did you hear at the tail end there?
Chicago. He's overlooking
Listen to this.
Red states that have much higher crime rates.
At the beginning, he said, yeah, there's crime in cities. It's because of the Democrat areas in those red states that have the crime. That's what's boosting the crime in those red states is the Democrat areas. This is how people manipulate other people. This is a disgusting SOB. And by the way, can we question why they have this guy walking? Do you know what I mean? Like, whose idea was this with a guy with ascites that's clearly going into some sort of like liver failure, by the way? That ain't fat. That is not just fat, you guys. If anybody knows anything about ascites, usually you get that from a heart condition, or you get that from a heart condition that's leading to failure, or you're a heavy drinker. This doesn't just come from him eating burgers. This is not all fat. This is called water retention. Okay. Oh, Brad, you're not a doctor. Don't need to be a doctor. I've seen it. And I've studied it a lot because I've seen people go through it. She's in workout gear. Like, whose idea was, hey, you want to go for a walk to seem like you're healthy? He's just sweating his ass off, just walking. We got that for you. Now, this is all due to progressives and Democrats not doing anything, want to defund the police, want to allow mass migration to happen with zero consequences taking place. And they're all woke. The image I'm about to show you is real. It's so mind-blowing. No, I didn't pause. I'm still here. I'm just trying to collect my thoughts on what I'm about to show you. But the camera's looking crisp. I don't know if you guys realize this. Turns out by the way, side note, turns out my internet was bad for like the last year almost. So we got that. I think that's what it is. My internet wasn't working. I was only getting 1/10. I did the math. I was only getting 1/10 of what I was supposed to get on my output. I think that's why we're looking so good. Not my mug. This is, but the quality's great. I mean, you got it. Look at that. I mean, you guys could see every pore on my face. All right. Well, speaking of seeing every pore on the face, here's the police chief over there in the United Kingdom. Look at this thing. If you look, I'm not poking fun at somebody's looks. All I'm saying is, if you buzzed this head and got rid of these glasses, you're looking at a UFO. This is some ET shit that's going on here. Look at the body. That thing is frail. Anyways, if you had to just close your eyes just really quick, and I wanted you to imagine, just everybody close their eyes. Shh, come in close, powwow time. Close your eyes and just envision what a progressive police chief would look like. Okay. Now you're going to be off slightly. You know what I mean? It's not going to be exact. Like a lot of you are like, okay, purple hair, like multicolored hair, blah, blah, blah. But you know, there's like a butch haircut in there. You know what I mean? There is a hardcore butch haircut. And you open your eyes. Is this, let's just say you don't know anything about this person. You don't know a damn thing about this person. What are you thinking? Mm-hmm. What are you thinking? Come on. Put it in the chat. Oh, Drag says, I'm driving. You're crazy. Drag, you can drive with your eyes closed. Blind people do it all the time. I mean, hell. Look, if it wasn't possible, Drag, why in God's green earth would the Democrats be hiring blind pilots? Clearly, you could fly a plane blind. You could drive blind. What's the problem? So this, by the way, this type of DEI hire, that's the type of I can't even do it. I gotta stop looking at it, you guys. It's so crazy. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna end up laughing. Get that off my screen. Oh, I have something else for you here. Okay. It's been a while. We got to cleanse the palate after that one. I know. I'm sorry. Hey, we're going into October soon. So, I mean, this is one of the time of year. God, I love hanging out with you guys. We have the best morning show. I know I say it all the time. I don't give a shit. I don't care if it's self-aggrandizing. We have the best morning show. There would be corporations that would be lucky to pick up our podcast. I'm going to say it right now. If we were given the right platform, I think we would be popping off. But I don't know what you guys think. I'm not saying we're the best show out there. I'm not. Please understand that. I'm nowhere close to Benny Johnson or Dan Bongino or Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles, all these greats, right? These legends that we just stand on the shoulders of. I am not as good as them. But damn, I think we bring a little bit of fun here and something a little bit different. Well, let's cleanse our palate here because Scott Jennings has something to say about Tim Walz. By the way, shout out. I love Emerald Green, but here we go.
Biden's presidency, hearing, Trump supporters, more MAGA influencers kind of documenting every day, oh, Biden stumbled on getting on the plane, or he walked a certain way, or he looked a certain way today. And now we're sort of seeing that flip on its head with Democrats taking that approach.
And why did we have to document it? Because nobody else would.
Hold on a second, Scott. You had an opportunity to ask the president today about this, and you did not. Why?
Well, because when he got on the phone and sounded very much alive, I thought it would sound kind of stupid, frankly, to ask an alive person if they were dead. But I'll tell you who is a complete piece of shit. I'm going to tell you right now.
There have been a lot of swear words at this table
Tim Walz,
today. Okay.
the governor of Minnesota, holding up a phone in front of a rally saying, well, we thought we were going to wake up and find out the president had died. Someday it'll happen. Someday it'll happen. I used to say he was the biggest buffoon in American politics, but it's worse now. No political official, no elected official should be walking around saying, well, I'm
Not much of.
By the way, he's right. Let me see if I can find that clip for all of you. Tim Walz was doing that. And I did see the clip yesterday. Let me see if I can find that for you really quickly here. Here he is. Well, that's a screenshot here.
And you get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news. You get up in the morning and you doom.
So that's what everybody was posting yesterday about him. But there you go. Scott Jennings calling Tim Walz a piece of shite. So, but everybody was posting that yesterday, where Tim Walz was disappointed Trump isn't dead. I mean, I don't know. He's just a weird dude. I don't like taking things too much out of context. I didn't really read into it that far. But, well, there you have it. So, James Klug, here you go. James Klug, who's a on the street guy that we love here. Chicago's last Republican mayor left office in 1931, and they're still blaming Republicans for their problems.
2 or 3 more new guns come into our city. Chicago will continue to have a violence problem as long as red states continue to have a gun problem. Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics. 2 or 3 more new guns come into our.
This is so common where Democrats are blaming Republicans for everything. I'm almost numb to it. There was a clip I saw a while back, maybe like a year or 2 years ago, and it was one of those on the street interviews. And they were going up to these women and asking them, hey, why do you basically think bad things have happened to your area? And they blame Republicans. And then the person brings up the fact that they have never, and I mean this all over sense, have never had a Republican running their area at all, like their local area, their state or anything. It's always have been, since the inception of it, been ran by Democrats. And they said they would never vote Republican and that a Democrat was going to solve the problem. You are talking like 100 years plus of idiocracy taking place. I've always said, I'm not calling every Democrat an idiot. I think that's silly. But what I am saying is there isn't a single one that could fix the problem in over 100 years. At that point, in terms of gambling, you would be better off just taking a chance at a Republican than a Democrat. But that's not how people think. They're insane. Absolutely insanity. I wish I could find the clip for you. Let's see if I can find it really quick. This is a reach what I'm trying to do right now. We'll see if it comes up. That's crazy. Nah, it's an old clip. I didn't think so. All righty, let's see what else is in the news. See what's breaking right now. That's 18 hours ago. Nah, the big one was Trump relocating Space Command to Alabama for jobs and security boost. That's kind of a not much there for me in terms of talking about. Let's see if we can get like 1 or 2 more big news headlines for all of you real quick. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my website, baldbrad.com. We have blogs up. We have a book. We got merchandise. We got t-shirts, hoodies. We got a lot of women's gear. We have a lot of, we're one of the few shows that our demographics are almost like 50-50. We get a lot of women and men. Ladies, there's specifically women's clothing there. And, sometimes a woman wants to wear just a nice big t-shirt. We also have big t-shirts for men that you could just buy as well. Just roam around the house and treat it like a muumuu or something. And get yourself one of those. I still have my shirt, my mug to this day. If you're not drinking coffee with me in the morning out of a Bald Brad Show mug, what are you doing? All righty. I'm trying to see something good here. Let's see what Daddy has. Like, Brad, don't do that. Let's do this one. Trump policy succeeding. Over 14,000 migrants reverse course, head south from U.S. border. Oh, baby, keeping our country safe. A new report from the countries of Colombia, Panama, and Costa Rica reveals President Trump's border policies are catalyzing over 14,000 migrants who plan to enter the United States to reverse direction. Migrants traveling south interviewed in Costa Rica, Panama, and Colombia by those countries, their offices, were almost all Venezuelans, 97% Venezuelans. And about half of them said they plan to return to Venezuela, according to the report the Associated Press reported. Nearly all said they were returning because they could no longer legally reach the U.S. Well, why is that? I was told that's not possible. I was told you need some sort of legislative action to stop this from taking place. Well, who did I hear that from? Well, Joe Biden, as well as echoed by his mouthpiece, Karine Jean-Pierre, during a White House press briefing. That's where I got it from. Reasons cited by... You have to say things like that because people are not capable, for some ungodly reason, of sourcing their own information and seeing what you're saying is true or false. Even though you can use artificial intelligence that will tell you everything somebody's saying, whether it's true or not, which is crazy. And by the way, since we're human beings, we're going to get it wrong at times, and so is AI for now. Reasons cited by migrants, here you go. This is why they're going to reverse course. This comes from the Costa Rica. With help from the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner, blah, blah, blah. Refusal to enter the United States was 50% of them, meaning they weren't allowed to come in. Changes the immigration policy, 46%. Fear of detention or deportation, because they saw alligator Alcatraz, basically, almost 20%. And lack of financial resources, 34%. Now you could, right, you're like, well, Brad, that adds up to over 100. So they could have checked I'm assuming they were checking multiple boxes. So you could have, in theory, somebody check all of these and, be applicable there. But that's from Tico Times. How original. So Donald Trump is just keeping our borders safe. And like I mentioned, we were told it's not possible. We were told by the Democrat Party for 4 years, you need legislation. It's just a challenge. Then it was a situation, never escalated to a crisis, blah, 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 blah. You also had this power move yesterday, or their lack of, I want to call it. Trump accuses China of plotting against U.S. as Xi flexes military power alongside Putin. I'll be honest, there was no flex here. I saw the complete opposite. This looked weak, man. Bro, if you have to have, okay, you have Russia, which is obviously, Russia has military nukes, right? Or just nuclear warheads, obviously military. I think, and I've talked about this with like a few people on TikTok, like the Intel guy who we get along with. I just don't think Russia has that powerful of a military. After what I'm seeing with Ukraine, I really question it. Now, to be fair, it could be like, it could be like our Vietnam, right? We didn't pull in a ton of boys into Vietnam. Like we could have just flattened Vietnam if we wanted to, but we didn't. So it could be like that scenario. But bro, if you have to bring out this tubby long skins here, or short skins, I should say, and this is your power move to bring in North Korea to walk the streets next to you, yeesh. This is not a power move at all. If, like I said, if you have to bring this dude out to stop using his tanks to blow off the heads of his uncles. And by those that wondering, it's Kim Jong-un from North Korea is walking next to him. So you have Putin, Xi, and Un walking together. There's a clip. Let me see if I can find that clip for you guys. There's a clip of them walking. It's just like, it's kind of cringy, man. It really is. Here we go. Here it is. So they're doing like a military parade and kind of showing off stuff. There you go, like a little toy soldier. By the way, shout out to the women. Chinese women are some other breed. But those are military prowess. It's just funny, dude, that they have to bring out freaking North Korea, dude. They have nobody else with them. I mean, you could have, what would have been more powerful, honestly, would have been more of a statement, is if you replaced tubby long skins or short skins with Modi from India. I think if you had Putin, Xi, and Modi, I think that's a pretty strong sense of force, because obviously China has a ton of people. I've heard reports that China has actually manipulated the amount of people that are currently in their population. I've heard it's down. I've heard like down by like, they've inflated it, meaning they've inflated it by like anywhere from 300 million to 600 million people. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true. There was a lady that was on a podcast that has ran numbers from China, because everything's lock and key there. I've heard they've inflated their population big time. So in the same way, Russia seems like they're a big superpower militarily. I really question that now myself. So that's what took place yesterday for a military parade and probably to get together. It seemed like, I don't know, they're the Axis or something. Hell. Geez, look at this. By the way, shout out to the guy that can't get his suit right. If anybody knows anything about suits, see, like Putin has it right. You see how like your hand right here, that's supposed to come down to where your jacket is. And that button, it's only 2. So you always top, for those that are in the know, sometimes, always, never. So if you have, so you always button when there's 2, you always button the top one. But if there's 3, that's the kind of the phrase, sometimes, always, never. Or always, sometimes, never. Something like that. I can't remember. I don't wear 3 button suits. But anyways, that's what's going on there. And that's pretty much all the news. We'll keep you updated on everything. I have to go to a work meeting now, so I'm going to end a little bit early. But thank you for everybody for always joining us over on Rumble, YouTube, X. We're everywhere. I really appreciate all your love, kindness. I know I say it every morning, but I want to make sure that's always acknowledged. Nobody should take your viewership for granted because you guys, you can never get back time. And time is precious. You can't buy time. You can lose it, though. So I appreciate all of you going, hey, I want to come hang out with the crew this morning, which is all of you guys. The community is what makes this show great. It's not me. It's not the news. It's you guys. And I appreciate that. And I've always said it. If somebody wants to experience a great community, come hang out at Bald Brad's podcast because I'll tell you what, they'll show you love and support. So I want to thank all the regulars that are always here. You know who you are. There's a lot of you now. Just appreciate you. God bless you. You know each other's names. And come hang out in the chat. You guys see them down here. I'm going to try to keep this chat live feed up. Hopefully you enjoy it. It's kind of a little new thing we're trying out. But with that being said, we'll be back here tomorrow. I don't even know what day. What day is it? I'll tell you what, Monday threw me off. I don't know about you guys. Whenever there's a day off, threw me off. Okay, today's Wednesday. It's hump day. Don't go humping somebody, you weirdos. With that being said, love you guys. Pray for this country. Pray for Donald Trump. Pray for world peace. And we'll be back here tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you check out Bald Brad. Get yourself a Trojan Horse copy or buy the book for a friend. And, well, like I said, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, Patriots.